I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by our very best friend, Officer Aries, and he brought with us today Corporal Rebecca Dabney from the K-9 unit of South San Francisco. Corporal Dabney, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you brought with us to us Aries today. I guarantee you he'll be my favorite interview today. He already is. But obviously, Aries is part of a K-9 unit for South San Francisco. So just tell us a little bit about the importance of a K-9 unit. Why do you have one? And actually, South San Francisco has been doing it for quite some time.
Yes. Our dogs are great in helping us. They're a search tool, basically, is their primary function for us. They can help us clear buildings for suspects much faster than a team of officers would be able to. They use their sense of smell to be able to alert us if they're hiding behind a door, in a closet, up high somewhere. They can alert us. We also use them as drug detection dogs. So all of our dogs are trained both in apprehension, searching for suspects, and also in detecting drugs. So we use them a lot for those purposes.
Well, and he hasn't gone to work here in the studio, so he hasn't looked behind any of the curtains. Or,
no, not yet.
So it seems like we're all clear here on the studio for Peninsula TV. But so you've been doing this for 50 years, so that means there's been a lot of dogs that have come through the K-9 unit for South San Francisco. But I always thought that the K-9 dogs were German Shepherds, typically.
Right.
And Aries is not. And you typically have a different breed. Why is that, and what is the breed?
The Aries is a Belgian Malinois, and they've become pretty popular as police dogs over the last maybe 10, 15 years. Although we do have one German Shepherd, and I think we have one or two mixes of Belgian Malinois and German Shepherds, but a lot of times the Belgian Malinois, they're bred specifically to be working dogs, especially in Europe. So they don't typically have the health problems that a lot of the German Shepherds have with the hip dysplasia and things like that. And they also tend to be a lot higher energy and just more drive. So they end up being great working dogs for us.
And so how do you choose your dogs, and then how do you begin their training regimen?
We get our dogs, we purchase them from a kennel in Indiana, a big kennel. They supply all kinds of police and military dogs throughout the country. And so we go out there for a few days and we test. Well, when we went to get him, we tested 26 different dogs. And so we look for what we want them to be really crazy about tennis balls, and if they have any environmental issues, loud noises, things like that might bother them. And then once we select a dog, we bring it home and we start training. We usually start off with odor detection and let them get them imprinted on the narcotics, and then we start doing obedience. And then once we get their obedience dialed in, then we start doing the bite work and the searching.
Well, I can tell he's very intent in making sure that he's looking at your hands and looking at your face. So that must be a lot of times where he gets his cues from, and looking at you and making sure that you're saying he can do the things that he's supposed to be doing. So how old are the dogs usually when they come online, if you will, or when they begin service?
We purchase them at between 1 and 3 years, typically.
And they're already somewhat trained at that point as well.
Yeah, most of the dogs that we purchase, due to cost and because we can do our own training, they usually come green, which essentially means they don't really have any training. They probably have had some exposure to bite work already, so that we know that they know what to do in those situations. But beyond that, they don't have any training when they come to us.
Okay. And how then are the dogs raised and kept once they arrive to you? Now, you're assigned to Aries.
Yes.
Does he live with you?
He does, yes.
Okay.
All of our dogs live with us. We don't have a situation at the station for them to be kept, long-term, crates or something while we're working. But yeah, they come home with us. They're part of the family when they come home. He sleeps in the bed with me, hangs out with the family. So, he's a good dog.
And typically when the dogs reach their service age, their end of their service age, what happens with the dogs after that?
They typically go home with the handler, unless for some reason the handler doesn't want to, but I don't think that we've ever had a situation where the handler doesn't want to take them home. So we have to purchase them from the city, technically, for liability purposes, so we write a check for $1, and then they come home with us, and then they're ours after that.
Right. And I know you're typically walking streets and in the community. I imagine that your community in South San Francisco just loves when they get to see Aries or Diesel or any of the other dogs
yes.
in the community.
Yes, so we do the Citizen Academy, and we always do a demonstration for that, and it's always the favorite
part of it.
They get to do a demo, and they get to meet all the dogs and everything. So
now, South San Francisco has one of the largest canine units.
Yes.
Is it because of your community sprawl? You're quite a large town, city, with lots of buildings, lots of activity, lots of commerce. Or is it just something that you've chosen as a public safety department to have this kind of resource?
It's just been, I don't know how many dogs we started out with 51 years ago or whatever it's been now, but they bumped it up to 5 dogs quite a while ago when Lieutenant Varney was in control of the unit. I don't really know why they chose to do that, but I think a lot of it is it's a great public relations tool, as well as they're useful, and we get to use them, and other agencies request us when they don't have the availability. So now,
can you tell us a story about one of your favorite situations with Aries?
I'd have to think about that one. I don't know. He's a pretty he's a big dork, so he's always finding ways to make me laugh. I don't. He's just
now.
A clown.
Has he ever? Let's say you're walking on the streets. Has he ever come across something that you weren't necessarily, like, you weren't in a situation looking for drugs or looking for something that you're needing his services, and all of a sudden he flushes something out for you?
No, he doesn't. They usually don't alert on things unless we give them a command to go search. Yeah, so they're pretty kind of off and on.
Yeah. Well, what are the things? Can the public support the canine unit? Is there something that we can do to ensure that you have a thriving canine unit?
Absolutely. We're always accepting donations. We're trying to work on getting a nonprofit status going right now, but we do accept donations, and because although the city does take care of vet bills and things like that, we a lot of times have to fundraise for our own extra trainings or to help with vet expenses for retired dogs and things like that.
Well, I would imagine the community would very much appreciate, as we do appreciate when an officer retires, that we want to ensure that they have all of the resources that they need for a healthy life. We want to make sure that our canines also as well. So, Aries, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on this program. Now, do you ever get a reunion with any of your other canines throughout the state and other cities and other neighboring communities?
We do get to go and help with other agencies a lot, especially when they don't have a dog available. We usually do, so.
Well, I again, Aries, I want to thank you so very much. He's like more intent on and asking you questions than me. Oh, hello! That is perfect. Now we can show our guests how beautiful you are, Aries. Thank you so much for joining me on Penn Voice today, Aries, and Corporal Dabney. Thank you so much for sharing the story of the canines. I think it's an amazing part of how we keep our communities safe. And dogs add so much to all of that safety. So thank you so much for joining us. All right, Aries, can you say goodbye to all of our community? All right, we'll see you all next time on Penn Voice.
Or not.